Isaiah chapter 58 and verse 1. Cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgressions, and the house of Jacob their sins.
Copyright disclaimer. This content does not belong to Bible Chronicles or claim this intellectual property. The content provided today has and always will belong to the content owner. Bible Chronicles does not have any affiliation with the owner of this property. As mentioned, Bible Chronicles did not intend to make use of any material for the purpose of harvesting gain. However, Title 17 of United States copyright law states material in use can only be done when it's for theological or general educational purposes, and thus Bible Chronicles believes that this principal material falls under fair use, which honors protection under Section 107 of the same U.S.
Pop, pop, pop. I'm jumping out the four-door. Booyaka, booyaka. It's the Ottoman warlord. Native killer bees in Michoacan. You in that beehive. America's a demon. Something real beast-like. The unit commander holding elk bone antlers. Mente full of anger. Aretes made of amber. Cinto de avestruz just to hold the Ruga. Machine gun rap. I think I'm Rex Luger. I don't turn the other cheek. That isn't my cultura. I disappear with the spirits. Deep inside the jungla, I was up in Sinaloa, fools playing the tuba. This is Turtle Island, native Isla de Tortugas. Take back the land, let off a Glock round. We rep the same flag, free the Raza on lockdown. Goliath white nation had me by the throat. They killed Che Guevara, so we'll even the score. The white man won't win what my poppy taught me. This is for the four winds, MESHIACHA to the Yaqui. My look under the mask remains melancholic, mobbing up the section with the paint inside the shoe polish. Feathers up from the barrio to the bosque. Native DNA strands, I represent the Olmec. Before y'all close it, put some jade in my casket. Invite all native nations, Tainos and Alaskans. White man, smallpox caused my people's Holocaust. Can you pay the price when your freedom's the cost? I'm out here playing with my life. Bring the Baphomet to fight. An avalanche of paragraphs, the alphabet is mine. Phenomenal one, I'ma put the wolves on them. A brother native threat, Chicano with the hood on them. This is for the brown, find the God within you. They don't never pat us down when we in the venue. Make some fucking noise, y'all.
Otra vez ando volando, traigo una pinche loquera. Y es que así salió el muchacho, no me importa quién me quiera. Porque pura madre cambio, porque pura madre cambio. Traigo el estilo más puto pesado, soy de Sonora del Río Colorado. 653 represento mi estado, yo pura verga me quedo callado. Tengo toda mi clica que me hace el paro. Pato no la cague porque sale caro. No me mire feo, no me mire raro, que no me interesa su pinche descaro. Ya está caliente machina allá afuera, puro pendejo deseando que muera. Pero puta madre bajo bandera, yo me cargo una puta traquetera. No me diga que aquí no hay otra manera, solo con los míos circuló la acera. Revienta mi corazón, siento que se me acelera. Mantente callado, callado, espera. Muchos traicioneros me han llamado amigo, creen que me la creo, yo nomás me río. Yo soy lo que traigo, me pego un suspiro. Quisiera pegarles en la frente un tiro, pero na, 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 pero na, 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 na. Otra vez ando volando, traigo una pinche loquera. Y es que así salió el muchacho, no me importa quién me quiera. Porque pura madre cambio, porque pura madre cambio. Muchos me dicen que soy bien grosero, que canto pura tontería. sabe macizo que vergas critican si esto es cosa mía. Que si ando quemando María, que si mi alma ya vendería, que si gané la lotería, parece que son policías. Todo tranquilo por el terreno, me voy calmado, todo sereno. Soy mexicano de orgullo moreno, me marcan al phone que quieren lo bueno. Yo me entrego el feeling contagiando, llega todo bien rayado, chamaco que pica. Me faltan tornillos, me faltan tuercas, hazme mala cara, te mando a la verga. Y es que así soy, no se porte culero. Ya me cansé, dame todo tu dinero. Ya les llovió, les cayó el mero mero. Dame gotera, traigo un aguacero. No ponga pero parece pendejo. Hace un chingo que yo ya no me dejo. Siempre pa' adelante, nunca paso de cangrejo. Volando, traigo una pinche loquera. Y es que así salió el muchacho. No me importa quién me quiera, porque pura madre cambio. Porque pura madre cambio. Otra vez ando volando, traigo una pinche loquera. Y es que así salió el muchacho. No me importa quién me quiera, porque pura madre cambio. Porque pura madre cambio.
Viene a decirnos con mucha firmeza y gran convencimiento lo mismo que nos decía en el siglo XVIII el barón de Holbach, ¿no? Un filósofo francés de origen alemán. Si nos remontamos al comienzo, entonces hallaremos que la ignorancia y el temor crearon a los dioses. La fantasía, el entusiasmo o el engaño los adornaron o desfiguraron. La debilidad les rinde culto, la credulidad los conserva, la costumbre los respeta y la tiranía los apoya para que la ceguera de los hombres sirva a sus propios intereses.
What up? Good evening. Nobody posted anything. It's all good. Good evening, few that are watching early. Appreciate you being here. We have a topic today. I chose it to be Sunday for that purpose. All right, and to you brothers and sisters that still do the Christian stuff, I want you to be very mindful of what I'm going to show you today. Okay, I'm going to show you some real serious stuff that should really get you to question what your beliefs are. You know what I'm saying? You have to come to that conclusion. Today, I'm going to tackle. Hey, supposedly it's Labor Day tomorrow, so why not? We're gonna go through a lot of different things. I'm not gonna really read every page of these books, but it just comes to show you like where all this is leading to, where it put us, why it's important to know who we are not just according to science, you know what I mean? But spiritually speaking too. Now, speaking of science, that's right. There's a lot of talk about, indigenous, or what I like to call MESHIACHA. As you know, family, I've been telling you this for a while. MESHIACHA, right? MESHIACHA. And now there's, more talk about DNA, because some people want to infiltrate, right? So the only way to debunk their funk is to choose DNA. Listen to this brother real quick. I like his messages, so let's start with that real quick. All right.
Why do Mexicans look Native American? Well, that's because the average Mexican is of overwhelmingly Native American ancestry. There have been numerous studies in Mexico supporting the fact that the average Mexican is roughly around 65 to 90% Native American. It is time for us to unlearn what we have been taught, reclaim our identity, and be proud of all of what we are.
It's very true. It is very true. Reclaim our identity and establish who we are. Well, I put establish. I don't know if you said that. Now, I was the only so-called Hebrew in this genre of understanding, okay? Whether you black, brown, whatever, white, it don't matter. Honestly, it don't matter. I was the first one to show you with DNA what I've been saying. What the scriptures say, that the 10 tribes were scattered, went to some place called Arsareth, and then they're still there. And everybody in science touches it. They don't say it, though. They say, Bering Strait, Mongolian, Siberian. That's all they want to place us on. I was the first one to show you my DNA. And like the brother said, 60 to 92%. So technically, I am 90+% of these lands. We're talking about DNA. All praises to our creator for that. Because a lot of you indigenous, so-called indigenous natives or Native Americans, whatever, that don't believe what I'm sharing because you're stuck on science, that's still the white man theory, by the way, just saying. So I'm using white man theory here. So even with their science, I'm proving what the Bible says about our gente. Now, some of you guys may say, well, how can you prove, you came from over there? Okay, I'm glad that you want to hear science, because there's no better way to show what you believe in, but by showing like your experience. So here's my DNA, and it says the most recent, okay? It's 91%, mostly Mexican. The rest is Peruvian, then Colombian. Pure indigenous, like pretty much 90+%, okay? And I've always knew that. I've always known that there was some South American influence in my family. I've just always known that, okay? Now, when you get into this thing called advanced analysis, which this is under CRI Genetics, which is one of the probably better ones that I've seen, because it gives you also abilities. And I bought this a long time ago, so for me, I got these for free, technically. Like, it even mentions, for example, I don't even use deodorant. And here it says that my DNA demonstrates that I don't necessarily use deodorant. Let's see, beauty, let me see. Anyways, I don't want to, man, that takes too much time. I'll sidetrack. Now let's go back to the point. Let me go back to the point, okay? Because I do that. I'm sorry. I'm getting older. Advanced analysis. So we went through the recent one. Now we're doing advanced analysis. It says here, but predominantly, because apparently, my bloodline, right? My forefathers have been going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You'll see it in the tracer, okay? Follow me here, back and forth. But so as of advanced analysis, because they can go as far back as 245 AD, okay? It says that I am 92+% of these Americas, predominantly Peruvian, Peruano, then Mexica, then Colombian. Okay, so that's the predominant bloodline that I carry. Now, here's the interesting part. It says that I'm more likely from the Aymara tribe or Quechua tribe. Okay, now hold on a second. I am not making this up. Now, I brought this out again, I think like 2 years ago, right? And I wasn't, some people were attacking me. I was like, yo, man, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know nothing about DNA. But I just happen to have a chance to pay so little for this, $50-something. This was 2.5 years ago when I did this, okay? And I've been the first one and the only one that can prove that we are Hebrews, not just with the scriptures. You know what I mean? I'm doing it with DNA, with white man science. So now you would say, well, that doesn't prove anything. So let me say this before I move forward. I have material, okay? They say material that states that the Quechua tribe and Aymara tribe, right? Specifically Quechua, has a Hebrew pronunciation, Hebrew similarities in their languages. So now I've touched on these things. We're talking about DNA, I guess DNA is important now. So now let's go back to the trait tracer. It says I'm 92% indigenous, or at least of these lands, right? That's my legal name. So, and it says here, going back from 1930, right? So here you see Peruvian Mexican. I don't know how this gets in here, to be quite frank with you, but it shows up like once or twice. Then it says Peruvian Mexican, Southern Han Chinese. Then it says Peruvian Mexican. So then now let's just go all the way back. Okay, hold on. Let's say now we're in at 1495, 1470, prior to the Spaniards getting here, 1445, definitely. Now it says that it goes as far back as 245 AD. So it says here that your DNA analysis reveals that one of your ancestors was Peruvian from year 275 AD. How do we know this? Your DNA contains a segment of whatever that is, SNPs on chromosome 6 located at 1227 that matches the group PEL. We determined the results have to be 99% match. Relation score, 961. What's that mean? The results of a formula used to rate the overall confidence of this matching being present in your ancestry. So they're like 9,000% confident, or in this case, 100% confident that this is a match. So they can go as far back as 2,000 years. We're talking about DNA. You know what I'm saying? So I'm proving that I am of these lands. So now, as I've said it before, I am the only one in this Hebrew genre. It don't matter who. GMS, Akari, well, they broke up now. It's ISUPK, IOIC, any one of these fools, FOPs, whatever, none of them have showed their DNA, proven that they've experienced this, and then put them close to that land. But you know who has? I have. We're talking about DNA. So it says here, no, this is the bomb. All right, let's go to the paternal. So that's the dad. So now let's see where it puts me. See, people wanted to run on that shit right there and started talking shit. That's why the channel's on. I don't know what the hell happened to them. But they don't realize that that branching out started here and expanded everywhere. Here it's telling me that in the last 2,000 years, my bloodline has been, my forefathers are technically from those areas of Peru. But if you go back way back further, it says that my forefathers are from this region right here. So the question is, if I didn't come with the Spaniards in 1492, and they traced this bloodline of mine back 2,000 years, then that means that this migration that that science wants to talk about, but only brushes on the scientific aspect of us coming from here to there, they do agree with that, right? But they never want to embrace it with us when it comes to the potentiality of that story in the book. A lot of things occurred here a long time ago, family. Unless you believe this is the old world, then then we don't really have much to say. But their ideology is that us indigenous people here, right? We came out of here, went through the Bering Strait, came over here. Well, I'm showing you my DNA, proving I've been here, not by myself. It ain't just me. You know what I mean? My dad didn't come by himself, or his great-grandfather. Says that they found me to be here in this region for 2,000 years, and then, but yet, hold on a second, your actual bloodline, your fathers truly came from this region right here. And family, in case you don't know this, and if you're new to the Bible, it says that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob basically traveled predominantly here, but Abraham started from here, all up this way, coming down this way. This is considered Mesopotamia. All right, this was Babylon, which is going to be part of the class, to be quite frank with you. So anyhow, we want to talk about DNA. Well, let's go. I'd love to do that. But see, when I show it, then it's not important. Now, let's get going with this. I'm going to show you a few videos that really don't connect to the topic. I don't even know if this is it, family. Forgive me, whatever. I thought it was the right one. Yeah, it goes right here. Hold on a second, all right? Sister made a good point. So let me just cover some of these things. Who's here? Nobody's here? All right, cool. Sounds good. All right, well, let's continue, man.
Before the Nazis gassed 6 million European Jewish people with a chemical called Zyklon B, the Americans used it first on Mexicans who would cross into the border to enter into the U.S. in an effort to disinfect them. And this eventually led to the 1917 bath riots, but it didn't end there. They continuously used chemicals to disinfect Mexicans all the way up until the 1950s. The Nazi scientists, to be specific, were inspired by the Americans. They were inspired by these chemical baths that Americans used to force Mexicans into every day, just to cross into the border. And I say all of this to say that oppressive regimes, oppressive nations trade tactics, they trade information, and they are inspired by each other because their ultimate goal is not only to oppress people, but to control people. American history is multidimensional. There is Black American history, Native American history, Mexican American history, Middle Eastern American history, on and on and on. America was busy, to say the least. But it's really important to understand that all of these issues are connected. And sometimes people might be very well versed in one part of American history and not have any knowledge about another part of American history, which is probably why so many people genuinely believe that Black American and Palestinian solidarity started after October 7th on this app.
All right, so she mentioned one point. I just wanted to show you guys the Nazi apparatus. And the reason why I wanted to share this with you is because it relates to the class, sun worshiping. Believe it or not. Believe it or not, it does. Sun worshiping. Let's continue.
Instituted fascist rule after a false flag burning of the Reichstag Parliament building. Trump instituted the fascist rule after Big Balls, grandson of an executed KBG agent. I missed that fun fact.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Got his ass beaten by a middle school girl. I know we should express concern. Nobody wants anyone to get beaten up. However, it was a middle school girl.
Bella Louise.
It was a 14 and 15-year-old. It was a girl and a boy. It's because of Big Balls that we have troops taking over the city of... Okay. As everyone has said, we're at a 30-year low in crime rates. I published the top 10 crime cities. DC's nowhere in there. Nope.
So you look at the political aspect of it and you're like, yeah, that's what's expected. Check this out, man. This blew my mind. Let's continue.
Elizabeth Clare Prophet has been described as being a leader in the New Age movement, and she has written this in a newsletter she publishes called The Coming Revolution. Quote, "The healing of the nations begins with the healing of ourselves. We must draw forth from the great central sun that eternal light with which we were anointed from the beginning," unquote. Adolf Hitler, I'm sure you've heard of him, the head of the German government prior to and during World War II, and who was directly responsible for the murder of over 50 million people, was also a sun worshiper. Very early in his life, he joined a secret organization called the Thule Society. And 40 years after the war, some historians are finally delving into its strange beliefs. Two of these writers, Michael Bertrand and Jean Angelini, have produced a book entitled The Occult and the Third Reich. And one of their conclusions is, quote, "In the Nazi cosmology, the sun played a prime role. As a sacred symbol of the Aryans, in contrast to the feminine and magical symbolism of the moon, revered by the Semitic peoples," unquote. The Nazi Party was the name of the National Socialist German Workers' Party, the party that Mr. Hitler joined. It became the controlling party of the German government prior to and during the war. The Führer, German for leader in this case, meaning Mr. Hitler, saw in the Jewish people with their black hair and swarthy complexion the dark side of the human species, while the blonde and blue-eyed Aryans constituted the light side of humanity. Hitler undertook to extirpate, meaning to eliminate, from the material world its impure elements, to lead it back to glory. But sun worship, as the Masons point out, is not new. The Bible talks about it as well.
Sun worship is not new. Again, I'm going to touch on a lot of different topics. Not a lot of different topics, but I'm going to attack your Christmas Christian religion. Because Christianity and the branches of Christianity are sun worshipers. They just don't know it. That image of Christ, the white Jesus, they always put a sun behind his head. Sun, S-U-N, sun, S-O-N. Ever wonder about that? Oh, what's up, brother, man? Good to have you here, bro. What's up? Thanks for the support. I figured it's Labor Day tomorrow, man, so, I might as well get this class in, and it's Sunday. That's the purpose of it. We're going to tackle some of this stuff right here. We're going to tackle the sun worshiping history. And guess what? Sun worshiping was a law in this country as well. And now I understand why the book Perils of Republic talked about when it becomes a church and state, then you would see its dominion or empire become. And the church and state did occur in 1880 or 1890, I believe. We're going to look at the book, but it talks about them passing laws that you cannot celebrate seventh-day rest on a Saturday. It had to be on a Sunday. And we're going to get into this book as well. So this is, I guess you could say, one of the best ways to explain why there's so much wickedness in these religions.
Two church leaders.
How is it how can God, so-called, be dealing with them if they're wicked as hell? Like, I don't understand that. Check this out. Let's look at some wickedness right here. And let's get a good perspective on what this is, man, because once you start finding out that the book, the Bible, the gods that it's mostly talking about was the worshiping of the sun. And every I guess you could say figurine in front of it or behind it. But the power came from that concept. Watch this.
With ties to Tampa are facing federal charges tonight. They're at the center of what investigators are calling a multi-million-dollar conspiracy involving money laundering, forced labor, and abuse. This follows multiple FBI raids this morning, including at a home in the affluent Avalon neighborhood in Hillsborough County. This was part of a nationwide takedown. Fox 13 is covering this investigation from multiple angles. Our Kylie Jones is at the federal courthouse in Tampa, diving deeper into the church and its leaders. But we begin with Aaron Mesmer live in Avila with more on the raid and reaction from neighbors. Aaron.
Yeah, Haley, and these neighbors were absolutely stunned by what went on this morning. Neighbors in this community, they woke up to helicopters and FBI agents raiding a home in Avila. And once they found out why those federal agents were there, it was even more surprising.
So I think I saw this video of this dude. Oh, man, I don't remember, to be honest with you. But apparently it came up again. Hey, Jeremías, buenos días. What up? What up? ¿Qué onda, señor? Good to have you here. I'm going to go through some good material tonight. You guys got to appreciate the Bible, man. You're gonna see some real stuff here. We're going to get some in-depth understanding of who these demons or idols were, and why does it say, people praying to the east, and how come that was a mistake? Well, we'll show you. We'll show you. All right. So anyways, good to have you here. Let's continue.
Some of you say, I don't have 100,000, but you have 20,000. You have 50,000 here, or you have 10,000.
That's video of David Taylor asking viewers to send money to his church. Federal authorities now say Taylor used donations to fund an extravagant lifestyle that included this massive mansion in Tampa's affluent Avila community. FBI agents raided the home Wednesday morning.
It's very surprising to hear that type of thing was going on again right in your backyard.
It's unclear what authorities took from the home. This view from Skyfox shows several cars lined up with gift bows on top. Neighbors say the 10-bedroom, 10.5-bathroom, 28,000 square foot mansion is one of the largest in Avila.
Because it was like, how could a pastor afford to live in a house like that?
According to the 23-page federal indictment, this house is one of several properties throughout the country purchased by Taylor's Kingdom of God Global Church. He's the pastor and referred to himself as an apostle, according to court documents. The indictment alleges Taylor recruited people to work at call centers, referring to them as armor bearers. Investigators say they were his, quote, personal servants who fulfilled Taylor's demands around the clock and were never paid. Taylor and executive director Michelle Brannon are accused of controlling nearly every aspect of the workers' lives, cutting them off from family and forcing them to take contraceptives. Human trafficking advocates say it's a devastating situation.
And you really had every aspect of human trafficking. You had individuals who were, brought to a facility that they couldn't leave. They weren't being paid. They had production goals that they had to meet.
And authorities say if the workers failed to reach Taylor's monetary goals, they faced punishment, including public humiliation, food and shelter restrictions, sleep deprivations, and physical and psychological abuse. The Crisis Center of Tampa Bay CEO says these victims will likely face a long recovery. She says,
so a lot of people will say, oh, it's not the church's fault. It's not the church's fault. But you're missing the point. Like, think about this. If they're talking about God, the creator, full of goodness and also punishment, man, that's real talk right there. But the creator, if you're riding with him, why would you do wicked stuff like that? And how could a good God, so to speak, deal with wickedness like that? Like, it doesn't, you can't wrap your mind around that, right? Well, we're going to find out why. The meaning behind the imagery, the crosses, the Jesus, you know what I'm saying? The light behind his fucking head, all that funky shit. Virgin Mary, like, todos esos diablos, way. The Virgin Mary is a demon. That's what I'm telling you. I'm going to hit you guys very hard today. A lot of you guys want to just say, oh, we're not, no, these people we're natives in India. Well, you're a fucking demon because from what I hear, you're worshiping demons. So let's continue.
There's another lesson every community can learn from this.
This can happen in one of our most affluent zip codes in Hillsborough County. It can happen in your backyard. It can happen in my backyard.
As for the folks who live with alleged human trafficking, fraud, and money laundering happening in their backyards.
I hope it's not true, but if it is, he deserves everything he's going to get.
See, an affluent neighborhood. These books here that we're gonna go through, it's not a surprise. You see, that's the Virgen Maria, pendejos. You're worshiping a demon, and then you wonder why shit still goes the way it goes. Oh, el padrecito abusó de la niña, pero pues no es culpa de la iglesia, es culpa. Really? If there was the real creator in that so-called building of yours, more likely that shit wouldn't happen. We would have called him out. This is no different. This is why you guys have to understand the meaning behind politics, the purpose behind politics, and the bullshit religion that they brought with politics. Remember, this here that you see is in every damn religion that you can imagine. So this is why this guy cannot, like, literally, he's calling out the Israelis for what they've done, and this other dude's like, nah, why? Why can't you speak out on that? That's horrific. That's not quote-unquote Christian or so-called Israel-like. Let's go.
What are you talking about right now? You're in the government? This is a stain on our history. And it feels like it's changed what being Jewish is. Because what being Jewish is isn't Israel. Judaism has existed for 4,000 years. This is a country for 75 years. I lived there when I was 18, and I grew up a Zionist. And we were told, and our whole community in this country is told, that we have to defend Israel and love Israel because it'll stop the Holocaust. It will stop another Holocaust from happening. And I went to a settlement at the end of my year there, and I looked down a hill at a Palestinian village, and I saw how they lived, and I turned back and I looked at the settlement and saw how they lived. And people live in a world where they're demeaned and dehumanized and surveilled constantly by people in, and this isn't in Gaza, by people in SWAT team outfits with semi-automatic weapons, and that's what the world is seeing. And you keep telling me that the problem is someone's getting yelled at a restaurant? I'm sorry.
You're conflating two different issues. I don't
Please,
understand.
please.
But you're suggesting.
See that? Are you suggesting? Please tell me the definition of what you're talking about. Are you suggesting that I'm getting paid by the Israelis? Yes, you are. $1.5 million, bro. Now, remember the video I showed you earlier? Look, check it out. I want to point this out to you.
Elizabeth Clare Prophet has been described as being a leader in the New Age movement.
New Age movement, right? The lost teachings of Jesus, mysteries of the higher self. Look at that. Oh, Kabbalah. That is the Talmud, by the way. And that is exactly what these guys practice. It's I'm telling you, family.
She has written this in a newsletter.
This is this Freemasonry, like it's all connected. It's all making sense to me. Like there's one thing of you hearing people, like hearing them talk, like say Bill Cooper or whatever. Another thing is like you're reading the Bible and you're like, what does it mean by them praying to the east? Why is that a big deal? Or the east wind, like stuff like that, right? And then you start finding out sources and books and like, oh, I see. And then it gets really, really heavy. So now when you look at politics and then you look at religion, you start realizing.
Really, Israel is making a mockery of Donald.
Why? Like you start seeing what's going on. You should be paying attention now. Now the Christmas Christians are complaining. Remember, I brought you guys a book called The Jews and the Muslims of British Columbia. And these Jews, mostly Sephardic initially, were predominantly the people in charge of good positions, good jobs. They were never in slavery like we were. They were the people running the shop. These gentes knew each other. They've been doing it since forever, fam. 1776 to independence, whatever, the Declaration of Independence, was written by Freemasons. That's a fucking fact. And these Freemasons, maybe some believed in religion. They believed in a God. They had to, because that's the requirement. But they didn't care what religion you believed in. It is no different than the times of Constantine, when he brought all religions into one and created Christianity. That's a fact. So now we see these people complaining about the very same people that got them here. Because remember, in 1492, who was expelled? The Jews and the Moors. Right. Exactly. So let's be mindful. The Constitution. Yes, sir. They conned you guys, bro. They conned you. The elite has been wanting to dominate this continent for quite some time. And they use you guys as collateral damage. So now you guys are all crying and shit. I'm not surprised. Because your religion, right? You Christmas Christians, you worship the devil. You worship the image of the sun. The S-U-N. That's why you celebrate December 25th. That's the whole concept behind that. You made it a law. You made it a law to have Sunday off. You made it a law to celebrate Christmas on December 25th, when none of that shit is real.
Really, Israel is making a mockery of Donald Trump at this point. They're making a mockery of Donald Trump. They're making a mockery of this White House. They're basically just flipping America the middle finger and saying there's nothing you can do about it. We own you. and we have no respect for you. And then they say that, and then Donald Trump does exactly what they want, and then they do whatever they want, and then you're told you're winning. Because what are the odds? Is it a coincidence? Is it incompetence? Is it a cover-up? What are the odds that Trump surrounds himself with all of these people that are connected to the Epstein case? What are the odds? He's got Bill Barr in there. He's got Kavanaugh. He's got Acosta. He's got Lutnick. Maybe more. We don't want to be left with a foreign policy dictated by a foreign country. And we don't want to be left with a system run by blackmailed perverts and financial criminals.
The funny part is that he doesn't understand that they already have been ruling you dumb fucks for quite some time. That's the beauty of seeing things for what they truly are. When they say that you're in the Matrix, I mean, that fucking is real. You start peeling the layers of, okay, well, what? Oh, that makes sense now. But how? Oh, I see now. So check this. Let's get into this now. So in Deuteronomy 17, okay, it says, if there be among you, remember, this is talking to the Israelites or the Hebrews. And that's my story, by the way. As you can see, that I am of these lands. But my spirit is saying something else to me. That I am a Hebrew. Somehow, some way, I'm connected with this particular story. And in this channel since 2022, I've proved my story. And I haven't been wrong. And no one can debunk the shit that I bring out. I've given everyone the opportunity to shut my channel down. Debunk me, please. Destroy what I say so I don't have to do this no more. Nobody has ever done it. Deuteronomy 17:2. So for me, this is my story, and I present it to you and see if this is your story too. If there be found among you within any of thy gates which the Lord thy God giveth thee, a man or woman that hath wrought wickedness in the sight of the Lord. Here, I'll make it simple. Suppose you hear, that's kind of short. Hold on. If there, come on, give me a good one. Okay, here goes. Deuteronomy 17:2, 28. The Lord your God has given you towns to live in. But later a man or a woman in your town may start worshiping other gods. Watch this. Or even the sun. That's why I wanted to stay here, because that's the first thing it says. Transgresses, right? That had wrought wickedness in the sight of the Lord thy God in transgressing his covenants, and had gone and served other gods and worshiped them, either the sun. Like, that's the first thing it's mentioned. Now, a lot of us, like the sun, the moon, and any of the host heaven, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's right. But the first thing is that we see the sun. And here we see Deuteronomy 14:19. Lest thou shalt lift up thine eyes unto, Deuteronomy 4:19. Lest thou lift up thine eyes unto heaven, and when thou seest the sun, again. First, 2 Kings 21:3. For he built up again the high places which Hezekiah his father had destroyed, and he reared up altars for Baal, and made a grove, as did Ahab king of Israel, and worshipped all the host of heaven. So the worship of Baal Job 31. If I beheld the sun, and he's talking about praying to him. So the worship of the Baal, it's technically the worship of the sun. This is from the encyclopedia. Here I go. Let me see. Go back. Let me see what page this is. Page 88. It's a heavy duty book, family. We're gonna get into this shit. This sun worshiping. A new and revised edition, an encyclopedia of Freemasonry and its kindred science, compromising the whole range of art, science, literature connected with the institution. Okay, so we see this here, volume 1, 1914. We're going to tackle this a little bit. And don't get scared, man. If I question your faith, good. You should start reflecting on what exactly it is that you believe. Because if you're still in those rooms worshiping the Virgen Maria and shit, going to Jesus and all that, you think you're a Christmas Christian, celebrating Christmas, all that weird stuff, bro, you are not. It's not just a tree. It's not just a Jesus image. It's like the fucking sun, bro. You might as well drop all your shit, and every time the sun comes up, get on your knees and thank the sun. Like, literally go out there and stare at that shit. Let it burn your eyes. Baal, he was the chief divinity among the Phoenicians, the Canaanites, and the Babylonians. This is why in Wisdom of Solomon 12, the Most High got rid of you, damn Canaanites. Here we see what he says. He gave them time, see if they could change, but he found out, nah, bro, these people just don't change. They don't change. This is who they are. They already are this way. It says here, Wisdom of Solomon 12:11, for it was a cursed seed from the beginning. And he's talking about Canaan. So these Phoenicians, Canaanites, this is what they started believing in. They worship the sun first. That's why you see the deity of the Egyptians worshiping the sun as well. That's why you got these so-called FBAs. Now they want to call themselves the people of the sun. Well, guess what, man? People eventually go back to their nature. The word signifies in Hebrew, Lord or Master. It was among the Orientalists a comprehensive term denoting divinity of any kind without reference to the class or to sex. The Sabiist, right, understood Baal as the sun, and Baalim in the plural were the sun, moon, and stars, the host of heavens. You see this? So it says here, thus in 1 Kings 18, we see Elijah showing by practical demonstration the difference between Baal and Jehovah, or the Most High, and the idolaters at his instigation called on Baal as their sun god. Now we're starting to. Now can we see a little clarity here? Now you understand what we mean by this particular thing? That's why it says here, 2 Kings 21:3, for he built up again the high places which Hezekiah his father had destroyed, and he reared up altars for Baal and made a grove, as did Ahab king of Israel, and worshiped all the host of heaven. So these people were worshiping the sun. They'd get up, because, it's the first thing you see in the morning, right? So it's like, yes, I'm assuming. So let's check out this video that I found. I think it's very interesting. I got it from a long video, so I try to get the best things that could help me go through this class with you. Check it out.
Masons tell the world that they circumambulate, defined as walking around the temple floor during their initiation ceremonies. Mr. Cloudy explains why this rite is performed. Quote, when the candidate first circles the lodge room about the altar, he walks step by step with 1,000 shades of men who have thus worshipped the Most High by humble imitation. Thus thought of circumambulation is no longer a mere parade, but a ceremony of significance, linking all who take part in it with the spiritual aspirations of a dim and distant past, unquote. It is a historical fact that the Knights Templar also performed the circumambulation of their temples. Quote, early man circled altars on which burned the fire which was his God, from east to west by way of the south.
So, like when you go to the churches over there on your little Christmas Christian moments and shit, when you go to those churches, by the way, they you light up a light and shit, supposedly. You ever wonder where that came from? You have to ask yourself, what are these practices that these religions are asking you to practice? Does that not matter? Or you will not question it? Is that the kind of case? Let's continue.
Notice that the North is not included in the ceremony. The significance of that omission will be discussed later. But circumambulation became a part of all religious observances, unquote. In another part of his book, entitled Introduction to Freemasonry, Mr. Cloudy reported that this style of walking was traceable to the ancient religions of the past. And he wrote this, quote, circumambulation was the ceremonies of ancient Egypt, unquote. So this practice of the modern Masons is based upon the ancient pagan religious practices of the ancients. So the Masons are telling us that early man walked around in a circle because he was worshiping the sun. Then they tell us that they are doing it for the same reason. There are reasons that the North, as a location to be visited in their walk around the temple floor, is not included in their initiation rites, and 6 of the great Masonic writers have told us why this is so. Captain William Morgan offered his readers this explanation with this comment from his book, the writing of which he was murdered for. Quote, "We therefore Masonically term the North a place of darkness," unquote. Mr. Mackey confirmed that statement in his book. Quote, "The North is Masonically called a place of darkness." And Mr. Pike confirmed the comments made by the other two Masons with this declaration. Quote, "To all Masons, the North has immediately been the place of darkness, and of the great lights of the lodge, none is in the North."
When I was reading the book, and when I mean the book is our book, well, I'm going to say my book, I guess. Can you guys agree? Our book. When I was reading our book, I kept finding those things out. Talking about the North, particular statements of the North, right? Or I will ascend above the Most High. Like it said the North. Muslims walk around the black. Yeah, that's the first thing that I found out. And matter of fact, yeah, it's like the ring around Saturn, which, you know, that book, the myth, I guess Saturn the myth, it actually says that the sun technically is Saturn that they're worshiping. But, you know, who knows, right? I mean, again, when it comes to these beliefs, there's like 3, 4 ways to look at it. You know what I mean? Let me show you this real quick, family. In 1492, when people came here, they also brought their religion. The same religion that you guys are worshiping right now. You know, that Christmas Christian shit, right? If you read the book, Los Misterios de las Pirámides Mexicanas, or the Mysteries of the Mexican Pyramids, on page 16, it tells you, it's in Spanish and in English. I'm going to read it to you in Spanish. It says here, de acuerdo con los españoles, el único conocimiento que podía adquirir un indio era el Padre Nuestro, meaning that all you knew, you were able to learn, you indio, Padre Nuestro, el Ave María, el Credo, y los 10 Mandamientos. That is it. You were not supposed to learn anything beyond Padre Nuestro, Ave María, el Credo, y 10 Mandamientos. You tell me one so-called Mexica or Central or South American that doesn't know this is true. That's all we know. If you're a Catholic, this is all you know. Padre Nuestro, que estás en el cielo, santificado sea tu nombre. Ave María, Padre Dios, el Credo, y los 10 Mandamientos. We all knew that because that's what was installed into our people generationally. Leer y escribir se consideraba que era para ellos tan peligroso como el diablo, meaning that if you read anything outside of this, it was like that if you were looking at the devil. So wash these thoughts from your mind, fam. Because this is real shit here. You're going to find out that the religion that you believe in, you're worshiping the devil. Lucifer himself.
Mr. Hutchins became the 5th Masonic writer to confirm this detail, as he said this, quote, "As in other degrees, the closing ritual provides a summary of the lessons taught in the degree. We hear in the West the eagles gather and the doom of tyranny is near. In the South, truth struggles against error and oppression. In the North, fanaticism and intolerance won. In the East, the people begin to know their rights and to be conscious of their dignity and that the sun's rays will soon smite the summits of the mountains," quotes Etienne Francois Bazat, a French Masonic writer, in his encyclopedia. Quote, "The veneration which the Masons have for the East bears a relation to the primitive religion whose first degeneration was sun worship," unquote. The worship of the sun, moon, and stars, the host of heaven. It was practiced in Persia, Chaldea, India, and other Oriental countries at an early period in the world's history, unquote. He then added this rather cryptic comment, quote, "And although the dogma of sun worship does not, of course, exist in Freemasonry, we find an allusion to it in the rite of circumambulation, which it preserves," unquote. Now one can understand what Mr. Mackey meant by that comment. The Masons do not worship the sun. They worship the sun. With a capital S. Understanding this practice in the Masonic temples. Quote, "This rite of circumambulation undoubtedly refers to the doctrine of sun worship," unquote.
We see? Now, who holds the posterity of all these religions? These guys do. Edom. All about Edom. Obadiah and Edom's sins. Just a link that I found. I found it interesting. Let's read this here. God tells Israel, treat the Edomites with kid gloves as you go through their land. He warns them again, you shall not abhor an Edomite, for he is your brother. And you know how he said kid gloves? That's a good point. Don't they get easily offended, family? What are they saying? You Mexicans are taking their jobs. Like, remember, keep in mind that these guys are so-called Christians, right? So again, it goes back to the video earlier. We're like, and I've asked myself when I was young, man, I'm like, why would God be dealing with them, man? If they're like really fucking evil, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, I think it's this one here. I think it's this one.
Put up the sign.
Yeah, this is this one. So this is, remember, these guys, these right-wingers, right? They're all Christian-loving mofos. These cracker barrels, they love Jesus. This guy put a sign up. Matter of fact, let me play this because I think this is important. I'm like, bro, for real?
Put up the sign because
I was like, dude, for real, bro? For real? Like, you're that envious and shit? This dude was mad, fam. This is why when you see the actions of people and you're like, God, why? What's God? Why? Well, this is why. Because they're not worshiping the God that you think they're worshiping. That's not the creator that they wake up to. They think they're waking up to somebody, but that's not who they're waking up to, family. At all. This is why they're wicked as hell. And to me, and look, this is the saddest part. It's not like the dude did something bad to him. This man is just mad because Raza outworked his ass. But again, these are Christmas Christians.
he is against all illegal immigration. He says the part that you see here behind me about starting with his neighborhood first is about a Mexican-owned auto shop just next door to him. He says the owners are illegal immigrants. However, I spoke to the owners and they say they're perfectly legal U.S. citizens. The sign you see here in Douglas Dietrich's yard has sparked outrage on social media. He says he put it up because he doesn't approve of illegal immigration, but there's a specific reason that his sign asks the president to start with his neighborhood.
Well, it appears that the shop has came next door to us against our wishes with illegal immigrants.
The business that he's talking about is Monkey's Garage. Shop owner Enrique Garfias says he is a legal citizen of the United States and thinks the sign is offensive, especially since it's about him.
There is so much hate already, but I don't hate him. I mean, he can do whatever he wants to. If he thinks he's right, he can do it. But people out there, they're going to see it that whatever he's doing is not right.
The sign has gained traction online with anonymous posts calling it hateful and prejudice. And now town officials are getting involved, saying it violates a Grifton town zoning ordinance. According to the town manager, that ordinance states that signs cannot be erected without a permit, something Dietrich currently and Facebook goes.
So you see what's why, right? It's because he bought the property. But that's not all. That's not the only reason. And it's not because he has a business there, by the way. It's because of something else. Check this out.
Dietrich says it only fuels him to keep the sign up.
This has just encouraged me to leave the sign up, maybe even add another sign next to it.
And Grifton's town manager told me that if Dietrich gets approved for a permit, he's more than welcome to keep the sign up here in his yard, but until then, he should not have it up. Now, Dietrich approached me here at his home right as I was about to go on the air, and he told me that he just applied for that permit around 15 minutes ago, right after he found out he was not in compliance from our reporting at 4 o'clock. I'll have more on our website later tonight. Live in Greenville, Chris Cook, or excuse me, live in Pitt County, Chris Cook, WITN News.
Okay, interesting development. Thank you, Chris. Now, Dietrich told WITN part of why he was upset with Monkey's Garage was he previously tried to buy the building and was not able to. He said Garfia's being able to purchase it and run a business there after that upset him. The great
Hear that? Did you hear that?
Where are you?
Why is he mad? This is why he's mad, family.
WITN part of why he was upset with Monkey's Garage was he previously tried to buy the building and was not able to. He said Garfia's being able to purchase it and run a business there after that upset him. The Grifton town manager.
So when you have the instructions to not serve other gods, and just be mindful because this was be the first one you're going to worship. If you're rebellious, like the other article said, treat them with like kid gloves. People that have a rebellious and angry spirit will always have hatred. Ezekiel 35:5 says, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel for the force by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in that time that their iniquity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. So, as you can see, perpetual hatred. Perpetual, I mean, it never ends. Perpetual means forever, everlasting. Ezekiel 25:15, it actually talks about this, and so this is the Philistines, I believe. Is it? Yeah. But we're talking about perpetual hatred towards these people. People that have hatred in their heart, do you think that they're going to be dealing with the Most High, the Creator? No, not at all. So before we go further into like more sun books, let me remind you, family, that if you believe in science, okay, then that means that the earth revolves around the sun. If you believe in science, okay, that the earth revolves around the sun. That's the way it works in science. But if you believe in the Bible, then the Bible says that the sun evolves around the earth. And I'm going to show you why. Or at least I'm going to show you where you see that. So we see here in Isaiah 38, behold, 38:8. Isaiah 38:8. It says, behold, I will bring again the shadow of the degrees which is gone down in the sundial of Ahaz. 10 degrees backwards. Then it says, so the sun returned 10 degrees, by which degrees it was gone down. You see this? You actually see what's going on here? If the sun was God, there's no way that a human would be able to tell it where to go. Now, that's 1 point. 2 points. If the earth revolved around the sun, why the fuck would Isaiah tell the sun to stop? Wouldn't it tell the earth to stop? Behold, I will bring again the shadows of the degrees, which has gone down in the sundial of Ahaz. So it's like if you put a piece of paper on the floor and put a pin, and the shadow of the sun hits that pin. And you can see, based on degrees, how it's moving. So what it's being said here is that he tells it 10 degrees backwards. Go back 10 degrees. So then the sun reverses. So the sun returned 10 degrees. This right here tells you the sun has no power. And again, if you believe that the sun, or I guess you could say if you believe in science, well, then that's what you believe. If you believe in the book, then I guess that's what you believe. You cannot say you believe in the Bible and then you believe that the earth goes around that the sun goes around the earth. I'm sorry, that you believe in the Bible and that the earth goes around the sun. You can't do both. You can't. You see what I'm saying? You can't do both. Here, let me see what you got. Proverbs 23:10. Let me see. I know at 13:14, I'm going to bring it out later probably. But Proverbs 23. Let me see what you got. 23:10. It says here, remove not the old landmarks. Yeah, but that's not what I need, bro. And I don't need that right now. Anyhow, let me go back. You go back. Gotta stick to the point, brother. Ponte el punto, eh? Anyway, so the sun returned 10 degrees, by which degrees was gone down. So here we see that the emphasis of the sun wasn't necessarily an importance. But when you're dealing with Edom, who has perpetual hatred for the people of the Creator, why would you not assume that he's also a creator of all other things, meaning wicked-ass beliefs, wicked-ass doctrines? I'll give you one of them here. Let's look at it again. Because this sun worship stuff is no joke, man. This is that Christian stuff. Christianity is sun worship. I'm telling you right now, Christianity is sun worship. Check it out. Oh, not only that, because guess what? The people that are in position of power, they're allowing you to worship these things. Freemasonry is a dominant entity in this country here. If you want to know who's making all the moves, if you think your vote counts, it doesn't fucking count. You guys really believe that shit? Nah. My family came from an environment like that, and they were predominantly people of power making decisions, and they made Mexico pueblo, pobre, way. They're doing that here now. I'm telling you, man, I'm seeing the same things. So let's listen to this. They say that this country is Christian, like, Christian Jesus and shit. Nah. He's going to tell you right now.
Is Lucifer the god of the Freemasons? Yes. To join Freemasonry, you have to be invited. You can't just join it. And the general sort of understanding is that this is going to be very good for business, for social interaction, for your career.
So they allow you to worship like Jehovah or Yahweh?
You can worship any god you want, but that's the only qualification, because they're going to convert whoever they are over to worshiping the great architect of the universe, Hell, Satan. AI has the same destination whether you're doing it for good or evil.
That right there, that point of AI is basically a good destination. Because I'm going to tell you this right now. You got Morenos right now asking AI, like, if AI could be a human, who would it be? And they're like, I guess AI said, oh, I would be a black person. That's how he said it. And they're all fucking slobbering over it. Now, mind you, this AI program, if you ever use it, because I read about it, I don't use it. I don't like it. I don't trust it. But I read it. Or I read how it functions. What it does is, let's say you have the app, and then you start using it. It's like a fresh computer, like a YouTube. Like, let's just think YouTube. If you use YouTube for the first time, it's going to give you random videos. But then eventually you're going to start preferring certain videos, right? So then it's going to start sending you those videos. AI is going to work the same way. It's going to make your world preferred to your world because it wants to manipulate you. That is the concept that he's talking about. But hey, by all means, enjoy it.
AI has the same destination whether you're doing it for good or evil. So it's like good magic and black magic.
Do these people know that they're advancing a system that has been prophesied as having to happen for the rise of the Antichrist, or do they not?
The fallen angels continue to tell their offspring, their descendants of their offspring, that they can still win.
Is there a hierarchy for these things like Illuminati, Freemasons?
The fairy tale concept goes back many years for when they're ready to reveal things.
When they're ready to reveal things. You see that? Ready to reveal. Let me show you something real quick. There it goes right here. Page. This book is called, here, let me show you. The Two Republics. Okay. The Two Republics. Give me a momento, por favor. The Two Republics of Rome and the United States of America. Alonzo Jones. 1891. Let me show you something real quick. Page 748. Just want to get to it real quick. This is on page 748. I'm going to read you this section here. It says, the procedure is well described in the following extract from the speech of Senator Crockett of Arkansas in the state Senate in behalf of the persecuted ones in that state. We cannot see how any lover of justice can fail to assent to the senator's opinion as expressed in the closing sentence. And he says, let me, sir, illustrate the operation of the present law. Operation of the present law by one or two examples. A Mr. Swearingen came from a northern state and settled on a farm in blank county. His farm was 4 miles from town and far away from any house of religious worship. He was a member of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Seventh-day Adventists celebrate so-called Sabbath on a Saturday, okay? He was a member of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and after having sacredly observed the Sabbath of his people, Saturday, by abstaining from all secular work, he and his sons, a lad of 17, on the first day of the week, went quietly about their usual avocation. They disturbed no one, inferred with the rights of no one, but they were observed and reported to the grand jury, indicted, arrested, tried, convicted, fined, and having no money to pay the fine, these moral Christian citizens of Arkansas were dragged to the county jail and imprisoned like felons for 25 days. For what? For daring in this so-called land of liberty in the year of our Lord 1887 to worship God. You see, this country and its white cracker barrels have completely been, like, I don't know, drugged or blind or ignorant to their own history. This has been a church and state since. It became a church and state once 1865 occurred. There is one way or the other that are going to hold power over people. You guys don't understand that. Here we see that in 1887, this Cracker Barrel country passed a law to arrest you if you didn't celebrate Sunday as your day off. Today, we don't look at it like a big deal. People work on Sunday, no big deal. But in 1887, if they caught you working, you'd go to jail. Christians. Well, what kind of quote-unquote Christians are these people? You know, inquiring minds want to know. Let me show you this real quick. Let's go back to this now. Yeah, sábado, Sabbath. Oh, hold on. Let me see if I missed something. Give me a second. Let me just see something real quick. Oh, okay. So, want to point this out. We'll touch it later too. But if you guys never heard of this, it's Druidism, the historical origin of Freemasonry. So, Druidism technically is Freemasonry, and Freemasonry technically is Kabbalah, and Kabbalah is technically the Talmud. You can't have one without the other. You see what I'm saying, family? There's Freemasons that are Christians, so-called, but they practice Freemasonry with their practices of all them 33rd degree and all that bullshit. So now let me show you something, because this is a Masonry of England. This is an Anglo-Saxon form of Christianity. They may tell you that they're worshiping that particular image, but they're worshiping other things. Check this out. Let me read this to you guys. It says here, Payne, who knew, by the way, as little of Masonry as he did of the religion of the Druids, dogmatically assert that Masonry is the remains of the religion of the ancient Druids, who, like the Magi of Persia and the priests of Heliopolis in Egypt, were priests of the sun. Here goes another one about regarding initiation. The candidate separating a blind man is then introduced while a hind to the sun is being chanted. Druidical gods. So you may have people at your Christian church. That doesn't stop them from being Freemasons, because they know that those religions are made up. That's just some belief they may have. I don't know how they technically interpret that internally, but how can you believe in that and then practice religion? That means that your religion is fake because your faith is on something else. Look, some writers have held that the Druids were sun worshippers, and that the adoration of the solar orbs constituted the national religion of the ancient Britons. Woo! Britons. You mean Anglo-Saxons? Yes. The Cracker Barrels are sun worshippers. That's why they love the thought of Jesus, or the image of it, the pictures and all that shit, whatever comes with it, but they don't fucking practice none of that. Y'all are wicked as hell. You pedophiles, you are LGBTQs in secret, not even like sincerely, you know what I mean? Like, just be you, because, you know, we know who you are. But no, you want to do it in secret. All of this has to do to whether you believe it or not, is these things here. Sun worshippers. Look at this. It says, who, the supreme god of the Druids, he therefore supposed to have been identical with Noah. And he bestowed upon him the various attributes that were distributed among the different gods of the more prolific mythology of the Greek and Romans, of all of which, with Bryant and Faber, he considers were elusive to sun worship. He therefore asserts that the Helio-Archite god of the Britons, Anglo-Saxons, a Greek who was a pantheon, a collection of deities who under several titles and attributes comprehended the group of superior gods whom the Greeks and other refined nations separated and arranged as distinctive personas. Well, personas, whatever. You see this? So don't be surprised. I mean, this is what you guys do. Here in the book I showed you earlier, let's look at this real quick. Let's go back to 1. It's 191 times this book mentions the sun. Now, Abrashah, that's a heavy-duty name, but it's also a representation of the sun. It's like an angel, I believe. So check this out. Adad, the name of the principal god among the Syrians, and who was representing the sun. sun worship was a big deal. Adam on page 14, Adam in that degree, a man seeking after divine truth. The Kabbalist, you see this, and the Talmudist have invented many things concerning the first Adam, none of which are, however, worthy of preservation. See, Knights of the Sun. Let me show you this real quick. Sun rays, Knight of the Sun. Maybe we'll get to Baal before we find anything else. Sorry, family. It's a little hot in my space here, so I'm trying to get through this quickly because it's getting too hot. Shit, that sucks. We got eons, Knights of the Sun, altar. Hold on a second. Angel, anthem, sun worship. Hold on, sun worship. That's okay. Let me just get to the Baal part. Give me a second. Let me just jump on it. So Baal here we see, once again, the Sabius understood Baal as the sun, and Balin in the plural were the sun, moon, and stars. We also see here that the idolaters at his instigation called on Baal as their sun god to light the sacrificial fire from morning until noon, because at noon he had acquired his greatest intensity. See? We see here now. Let's go here. The latter was, however, worshipped by the Jews whenever they became heterodox, and by all the Orientals, by all the Oriental or Semitic nations as a supreme divinity, representing the sun in some of his modifications as the ruler of the day. It's, this is interesting. It says by all the Oriental or Semitic nations. Isn't it interesting that it relates Oriental to Semitic? You got to think about why it says that, by the way, in case you guys don't know that. The map goes all the way down to like the Middle East. Anyways, let's continue. Representing the sun in some of its modifications as the ruler of the day. In Tyre, Baal was the sun, and Ashtoreth the moon. Baal Peor, the lord of Priapism, was the sun, represented as the generative principle of nature. So when you read the scriptures regarding these gods like, Baal, it should kind of give you now a good idea what that actually means and who it's referring to. Hold on a second. Adapts, that's it. That was way off. I didn't know that's how you spell it. Crazy. So I have a video that these people are mentioned. They're considered witches, by the way. Knights adapt. Here, the Druids this is on page, it means cipher writing. Cipher, the church. Okay. The Druids who were not permitted by the ruler of their order to commit any part of the ritual to ordinary writing, preserve the memory of it by the issue of the letters of the Greek alphabet. The Kabbalists concealed many words by writing them backwards. A method which is still persuaded by the French Masons. The old alchemists also made use of cipher writing in order to conceal those processes, the knowledge of which was intended only for the adept. Thus, Roger Bacon, which I believe is Francis Bacon's brother, who discovered the composition of gunpowder, is said to have concealed the names of the ingredients under the cipher made by the transposition of the letter. I think this is his dad, to be honest with you. So now you see how deep this fucking story goes with Francis Bacon. Now, in this book, it also mentions blazing star. Let me see if I can get it real quick. If not, we can move on. You got it? Five-pointed star. The five-pointed star, which is not to be confounded with the blazing star, is not found among the old symbols of masonry. Okay, good. I'm glad you could correct that. He found out the order of, let's see, let me see what we're talking about. What name is this? The Adonharamite masonry. He founded the order of the blazing star. Okay, well, let's skip that. The arms of the order were naked swords and a blazing star. Order of the apocalypse. So we see a mention of the blazing star several times. Astronomy. The blazing star, which was among the Egyptians a symbol of Anubis, or the dog star. Blazing star, it says, which is not, however, to be confounded with the five-pointed star, is one of the most important symbols of Freemasonry and makes its appearance in several of the degrees. It is, says Hutchinson, the first and most exalted object that demands our attention in the lodge. The blazing star. So we're talking about the sun, the worshiping of the sun. Then the scriptures talk about the morning star, right? Second, Isaiah 14:12 says this: How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning, son of the sun, S-O-N of the S-U-N, son of the sun. How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? When you prove them wrong and you move the sun back and forth and you show that their idols are fake, this is how you get cut down to the ground. Now hear this, because this is important, like the brother was saying. Actually, no, sorry, I misunderstood the verses that you were talking about, that you posted. The one you posted was 13:14. This one says here, and this is why it mentions that the north is not to be talked about, because they worship the east. Here's why it says this. Isaiah 14:13, for thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into the heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit upon the mount of the congregation in the side of the north. In the side of the north. Here is where it's spitting at the Creator. The beliefs of these people also. Their creation, their AI bullshit, their so-called ability to clone people. That's what they're sounding like, fam. Check this video out. Because we got a lot of these people, man. We'll show you these videos and you guys still don't care. You'll still go to, oh, hold on a second. Oh, my bad. Hold on, let me finish that other video. I got to finish that other one. Okay? Because it's important. Let's go. I'll let it play now.
Is Lucifer the god of the Freemasons? Yes. To join Freemasonry, you have to be invited. You can't just join it. And the general sort of understanding is that this is going to be very good for business, for social interaction, for your career.
So they allow you to worship like Jehovah or Yahweh?
You can worship any god you want, but that's the only qualification, because they're going to convert whoever they are over to worshiping the great architect of the universe, Hell, Satan. AI has the same destination whether you're doing it for good or evil. So it's like good magic and black magic.
Do these people know that they're advancing a system that has been prophesied as having to happen for the rise of the Antichrist, or do they not?
The fallen angels continue to tell their offspring, their descendants of their offspring, that they can still win.
Is there a hierarchy for these things like Illuminati, Freemasons?
The fairy tale concept goes back many years for when they're ready to reveal things, that we would accept that more easily, and they can tell us that they told us, we just didn't understand. This fairy tale concept, both Tolkien and Lewis were talking about, is they consider the Bible a fairy tale because they both said so. I'll show you their doctrines and the fruits of their works, and if they ever became Christian, they never recanted their writings. Many Freemasons are witches. Why? Because they're adepts, and they are leading the setting up of new towns. They're there to set up their legal claim to the new continent. When Moses dies, we have Satan showing up to claim his body. That's because he is initiated at Heliopolis. People confuse and conflate wrath and tribulation.
You said you don't want to live through it.
No.
Do you think you will?
Probably.
People have to get over the fear of death in all connotations, because if you know what is really going to happen, you won't be fearful.
We have a hubris that all the new technology and all the new science is coming forth from our world in the last few years. But guess what? There were civilizations here over 10,000 years ago. They knew stuff that we're just beginning to find out. They knew stuff that was so far advanced.
Right there is what they consider their tree of good and evil, a tree of life. But that picture right there is so interesting. I'm gonna let the video play, but I'm gonna remember this picture of this tree shape. Okay? Just remember it.
That we wouldn't even think about it. One of the things that we're going to talk about today are the Hermetic principles. Now, these are principles about the nature of life on this planet that were created over 5,000 years ago. But what's so interesting about them? No matter how old they are scientifically accurate at this moment right now. But before we go into them, I'd like to listen a little history about the Hermetic principles, and then let's compare those principles from 5,000 years ago to what we know today.
Here to shed light on the profound connection between ancient wisdom and modern science is Bruce Lipton, PhD, a distinguished cell biologist and lecturer whose groundbreaking work reveals how our beliefs can shape our biology and destiny, offering a transformative perspective on human evolution and empowerment. The 7 Hermetic principles originate from an ancient school of thought that stretches back tens of thousands of years. In more recent history, these teachings were compiled in a book written in 1908 called The Kybalion by 3 initiates. This book centers around a mysterious and profound figure known as Hermes Trismegistus, which translates to Hermes, the thrice greatest. Scholars and academics often debate whether Hermes Trismegistus was a real historical figure or a symbolic convergence of an ancient intellectual collective. This enigmatic character shares attributes with other ancient deities, such as Thoth, the Egyptian god of writing and wisdom, and Hermes, the Greek god of communication and the messenger of the gods.
You see the sun. Look at this picture here. Hold on, let me bring it over here. This is from the Council of Trent symbols. You see the sun? See the sun? I mean, what we all know this. We all know this for a fact. When they bring that, what is that thing the Catholics do? They walk into the church and they hold that up. I can't remember what it's called, but it looks like something like this on a pole. That's the logo of the Trent. This is the Council of the Trent. November 28, 1518, Luther had appealed from the Pope to a general council because he was convinced that he would be condemned at Rome for his heretical doctrine. It's heretical doctrine, so they say. They've had many of these meetings, by the way, family. This is just probably the most, well, I mean, not the most recent one. I'm sure they have a lot more. There was something I wanted to show you here, man. I can't remember. But let me show you this picture at least. So I'll do that. Because we're going to look in the book too. I'm going to pull up this book pretty soon. But here you see the evolution of the pictures of Christ. Okay? So this is from Roman time. Roman misfits, so to speak. You see the crown. You see the sun. S-U-N and S-O-N. Let's read this on the bottom. A pagan figure of the sun. That's number one. A pagan figure of the sun. You see that? That's a pagan figure of the sun. Not Jesus, not the white one. But it looks just like it, don't it? Without a beard, maybe? The face of a coin of Constantine showing head of Constantine with abbreviated inscriptions. Imperator Constantinus Pius Felix Augustus. Right there, number 2. I don't know, this is a side point, but black folks say they ruled Rome too. They don't look like a Moreno, bro. And if you guys understand, y'all are wicked as fuck then, in that case. The reverse of the same coin showing a standing figure of the sun with rays of the head. So this is the opposite side of that coin. Holding a globe in the left hand. See? The globe representing what? The earth? Pointing to the meridian with the right, with inscriptions, Soli Invictu Comite, the sun, my invincible ally. My invincible ally. Sol Invictus Helios, basically. Yep, you're right, brother. Number 4 says, a view holding the globe of figure. Then it says, this coin is in the possession of Mr. D.O.H. Hall, jeweler of Spartanburg, Pennsylvania, who kindly allowed it to be photographed. The photograph is larger than the coin, that being about the size of a nickel, 5 cents, something like that. So number 4, it says a pretended picture of Christ, which is clearly but a combination of 1 and 3, showing the head and shoulders of the sun. Figure 1 on the left hand, and the view holding the globe in figure 3. So this here is a combination of these two here. So this is the sun. This is where you get the image of the white Jesus. The concept of white Jesus, Christmas Christian Jesus, the one that supposedly was born in December 25th, which is a fucking lie. And then you guys go get on your knees on December 12th and you worship the damn Virgin Mary. That's a damn demon. Why? Say you guys want to believe in the book, Christmas Christians, or just Christians, period. Los católicos cristianos, supposedly like los que quieren a Dios un chingo, no? Deuteronomy 4:19 says, unless thou lift up thine eyes unto heaven, and when thou seest the sun and the moon and the stars. So the first thing that every single nation was doing was worshiping this damn thing. Because you saw it in the morning. Y'all are that simple. I mean, it's literally like that bad, fam. People are that simple. They're willing to worship the sun. You know, I guess some people need proof. I don't know. It's crazy, man. It's crazy, Holmes. Hold on. I'm trying to get to 616 on PDF. Okay, here it goes. This is, by the way, sorry. the book, The Two Republics. Okay. The Two Republics, or Rome and the United States of America. It's one and the same. Cracker Barrels, y'all gonna get your asses whooped. You guys are demons. You don't even know that you're worshiping you're worshiping Baal, fool, straight up. Y'all are worshiping Baal. Your churches, like all the stuff that you guys believe in, like you are worshiping Baal. Straight up. Here we see a picture of, or a combination. It says this is a combination sun piece. The central object is Mithra in a cavern sacrificing a bull. What's in New York? At the Stock Exchange Street. A bull. Cracker Barrel, White America, you guys represent this whole shit, man. You right-wingers, you don't even know it. You're worshiping the devil. You're worshiping Rome. You are, in a sense, Rome again. In derision, by the way, Mithra was the sun. The bull was the symbol of powers of night. The blood of the bull is to impart the powers of regeneration. At the right hand, below is the genius of the night with his torch extinguished. At the left, hold on, his torch extinguished. So I see right here. At the left here is genius of the day with his torch aflamed. Here, upside down. Above in the middle is the earth with its production. At the left is Apollo in his chariot drawn by 4 horses. And this place representing the rising sun, while at the right is Aurora, the goddess of the morning. See? It's all symbols, family. Why do you think they have the pyramid in the back of the dollar? Like, seriously, think about this. Why do you think they do that? And you see all these Cracker Barrels like, oh my God, America. Bro, shut up, bro. This is a Freemason country. You're using their dollar bill that you're so proud of. Yeah, that's Freemason shit. The inscription on the body of the bull is to Mithra, the invincible sun god. This sacrifice was made at the winter solstice, what is now Christmas time. Let me read that again. The inscription on the body of the bull, to Mithra, the invincible god. This sacrifice was made at the winter solstice, what is now Christmas time, December 25th. So you Christmas Christians are sun-worshipping fucking devils. This sacrifice was made at the winter solstice, what is now Christmas time. The whole combination piece is intended to represent the victory of the sun, which is why you made the law in 1880 or 18-something to make sun the day of worship. White America, Cracker Barrel America made Sunday the day of worship because they love to worship the sun. Cracker Barrels, y'all better start accepting that shit. The whole combination piece is intended to represent the victory of the sun, the god of the day, over the powers of darkness and of night. The original was a vault, was in a vault at Rome under the Capitol, and is now in the Louvre, Paris. I'm sure that's not how you say it. So here we see this. Watch this. This is on page 507 of the same book. As the catechumen came to the baptismal font, he turned to the west, to the realm of Satan, and thrice renounced his power. He returned to the east to adore the Son of Righteousness, and to proclaim his compact with the Lord of life. Son of Righteousness. About the middle of the 4th century, there was added another form, an element of sun worship. Amongst the pagans of ages, December 25th had been celebrated as the birth of the sun. Man, I'm surprised, bro, that I got several people are still watching, man. Thank you, brothers, for showing support. Or if you're interested, man, all praises, because this shit goes deep. And it should scare you. Because if not, you guys are sheeples, bro. Hold on a second. Hold on. I might have messed up. Was I showing? No. No, that was, I think I was done with that. Okay, let's continue. All right. I want to show this video because, again, fam, I'm just trying to show you what I know and what has kept me away from stuff like this. It's not easy. You have family. I get it. But when you understand the meaning of what the fuck they're celebrating, it has to matter to you. It has to matter to your children. Well, it has to matter to you till you can teach your children. I mean, look, listen, December 25th, whether you fucking like it or not, has nothing to do with so-called Jesus. Even if it's you want to be the worshiping the white one, fine. But it still has nothing to do with December 25th. You see what I'm saying? Here we see that among the pagans for ages, December 25th had been celebrated as the birthday of the sun. Now, this is a book here printed in, what page is this? 507. Okay. It's called The Two Republics. You know what I'm saying? The two republics of Rome and the United States. Let's say you want to worship your white Jesus. Okay. I can't stop you because, you want to do what you want to do. I don't fuck. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to show you some love with truth. But even if you wanted to continue worshiping that so-called white Jesus, he was not born on December 25th. So now you understand exactly what it is that you're trying, like why I'm saying what I'm saying. You have it all wrong. And a lot of times people get scared when they find out what I used to believe in is not true. It's fake and it's evil. Yeah. Okay, I'll be the first one to tell you, man. I kind of missed Halloween sometimes because I used to enjoy seeing my kids dress up. Like, it was cool, man. But the meaning behind it. Sorry, I lost my fucking train of thought. My bad. Hold on, let me show you this real quick. The year is 1891. The year is 1891, fam. It's not that long ago. These people know that they're not supposed to celebrate Christmas on December 25th, but does it matter to them? Fuck no. It should matter to you. It should matter to you, especially now. And I'm not making this up. You see this in actual historical books. About the middle of the 4th century, there was added another form and element of sun worship. So prior to 400 AD, 400 years after the Mashiach, there was added another element to worship the sun. So they brought into the church of Constantine Christmas Christians in every branch that comes out of that, like Vocab Hamon or that big ass bald headed dude that always he's all fidgety and shit, or what's the other guy? Andrew, some shit. Some of these right wingers, every single one of them. You know what I mean? Like I laugh at them, bro. They think they know the Bible and they really don't. But anyways, that's not the side. That's the side point. They ignore this. Among the pagans for ages, December 25th had been celebrated as the birthday of the sun. That should matter to you. We just read several verses. Don't worship the sun. Don't worship the sun. Don't worship the sun. Don't worship the sun. But what do you guys do? You go and worship the fucking sun. You're getting ready for Christmas, I bet you right now. In the reign of the Domitian and the Trajan, Rome formally adopted from the Persians a feast of the Persian sun god Mithras as the birth festival of the unconquered sun, Natalis Invicti Solis. The Church of Rome adopted this festival and made it. Listen, please. The Church of Rome adopted this festival and made it the birth of Christ. So it had nothing to do with the Mashiach, the real one. Now, for you guys, Old Testament keepers, I want to say, oh, that's not true. He's not in the Bible, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's why your Talmudic believers talk about him in a very fucking derogatory way. Like your dads and your uncles and all that shit that you guys try to hide from. And you want to come to this channel, try to act like you don't know people like that. Yeah, supposedly he's not real, but the Talmud talks a lot of negative shit about him. Sure. The Church of Rome adopted this festival and made it the birth of Christ. It wasn't, in the first place, part of it. And within a few years, the celebration of this festival of the sun had spread throughout the whole empire, east and west. The perverse-minded bishops. So you see the way the sin works. The perverseness of beliefs brings other perverseness. The perverse-minded bishops, like that, the video we saw, they were robbing people. They were enslaving them, making them work for fucking like crazy shit. And you would think, what's going on? I thought they were talking about God. No. Perverse-minded bishops, because they're worshiping some other deity, readily sanctioning it with the argument that the pagan festival of the birth of the real sun was a type of the festival of the birth of Christ, the Son of Righteousness, the SUN. Thus was established the church festival of Christmas. Referencing book History of the Christian Church. I would highly suggest for you guys to grab that shit. You're going to find out some interesting stuff. I totally forgot to fucking include it. But it's all good. The History of the Christian Church. Volume 3, page 77, I guess section 3 and 4, or chapter 3 and 4. I don't know, but it's volume 3. So what are we going to do? Right-wingers. You Catholics. What are you going to argue about this? This custom, like forms of sun worship, the day of the sun, worshiping towards the east, and the mysteries which had already been adopted, was so closely followed that it was actually brought as a charge against Christians of the Catholic Church that they celebrated the solstitia with the pagans. Neander. The worship of the sun itself was also practiced. Pope Leo I testified that in his time, many Catholics had retained the pagan custom of paying obedience from some lofty eminence to the sun, and that they also first worshiped the rising sun, paying homage to pagan Apollo before repairing the Basilica of St. Peter's. Shit.
Wait a minute. Who are you?
The images and pictures which had formerly represented the sun were adopted and transformed into representation of Christ. Let me read that again. The images and pictures which had formerly represented the sun were adopted and transformed into representations of Christ. How easily this was accomplished can be discerned by the examination of the accompanying illustration, and such was the origin of the pictures of Christ, quote unquote, and especially in the nimbus or halo around the head of them. What are we looking at? Right here. Well, I have the picture. Hold on. I showed it to you. The evolution. That used to be, that was not anything near that. That's an actual pagan figure of the sun from their time, from Constantine's times. And then they basically merged the two together. Hey, what up, sis? Good to have you here. Who did I say what's up to? All right, what's up, man? European will never be American. What up, brother? My bad, I forgot to say what's up. So now let's consider the sheeple.
In other words, the sun did not have to return each morning. Man must have quickly determined that since the sun did not have to return, man should start asking it to return. Mr. Pike connected the sun to Osiris, mentioned by Mr. Hutchins as worthy of being mourned. Quote, the three lights at the altar inside the Masonic temple represent Osiris, Isis, and Horus. Osiris was represented by the sun, unquote. Mr. Mackey went a little further and informed his readers that, quote, Osiris was the sun, unquote. In his book entitled Introduction to Freemasonry, Carl H. Cloudy, the author, himself a Mason, connected the sun worship with the ceremonies inside the Masonic Lodge. Quote, the lodge sets him, meaning the initiate, upon the path that leads to light, but it is for him to travel the winding path to the symbolic east, unquote. The physical sun rises in the east, and the Masons explain that their search for light begins in the east, and notice that Mr. Cloudy capitalizes the word east, apparently in reverence to the spot where they believe that this God resides. Obviously, to make the new religion work, the believers would have to be able to predict the movements of the sun. It wouldn't be too long before some of the common people would start noticing that the sun was neither an actual being nor a god to be worshipped, but something that moved according to precise laws. Now, if the common people figured that out, they would not need the adepts who had computed the sun's periodic cycles. So, to keep their power intact, they would teach the people that if they did not accommodate their wishes, they would make certain that the sun did not return. They could even predict, as their measurements became more sophisticated, the exact time and date when the moon would go between the sun and the earth, causing the sun to disappear. They could then fool the people into believing that they were the cause of the disappearance. They could then, of course, explain to the people that if they did not continue to pay them sort of tribute, they would not intercede in their behalf, and the sun would not reappear. To keep the minds of the common people, the sheeple, away from figuring out that the whole religion was a scam, the adepts would conduct beautiful and ornate ceremonies around the worship of the sun, and they would expect the people to pay them for the elaborate rituals. And to make their rituals valid, the adepts would always claim that the sun obeyed their prayers, thereby convincing the people of their need to keep the adepts around. The people...
And the adepts, to keeping them around, how is that any different than the churches today? We're saying you got to come and confess your shit to the priest. Oh, you need the priest because without the priest, you don't got no connection with God, with God. Or like you join these stupid ass camps and they say, if you leave these camps, you leave the spirit. Oh, I see. So you're my connection to the Creator, not me anymore. Okay.
I mean, the sheeple would continue to pay tribute to these adepts as long as they appeared to be successful. Now, folks, if the adepts knew that the sun was a symbol of something that the people would not support, such as a belief that Lucifer, the devil, was the god that they worshipped, they would have to continue with their charade so that the people would not decide to stop worshiping. Because if the sheeple figured it out, they would no longer support their activities. They would have to keep their beliefs from the people and conceal their secret worship in hidden symbols. So sun worship as a religion prospered. Mr. Hutchins discussed that position in his book, and I also discussed it in mine, Behold a Pale Horse. Mr. Hutchins says this, quote, in the tabernacle, the brethren, clothed in black, mourn Osiris, who is representative of the sun, of light, of life, of good and beauty. They reflect upon the way the earth may again be gladdened by his presence.
So he says. Let me show you this real quick. I think this is it. You tell me what this is about, family. What the hell is that? You know what's funny? It says here, welcome to the circuits, right? I don't think you guys know what that means. Because that word itself, circuits, does mean church, by the way. I have a definition for it. It says it's an enchantress and a mirror goddess in ancient Greek mythology and religion. In most accounts, Circe, or Circe, is described as the daughter of the sun god Helios and the oceanid nymph Perse. Circus or Kirky equals church. What are we doing here, man? These are definitely, like, for example, this is the Christmas celebration we just read right now. Oh, shit, that's right. Okay, so check this out. Check this out. It says Circe there, or circuits, right? That's right, it's right here. It says here, this is from the Two Babylons, 1871, from Hislop. It's on page 87. It says here, I'll go up to here. But where in the whole compass of Scripture do we ever read that his head was surrounded with a disk or a circle of light? But what will be searched for in vain in the Word of God is found in the artistic representations of the great gods and goddesses of Babylon. The disk, and particularly the circle, were the well-known symbols of the sun divinity, and figured largely in the symbolism of the East, which with the circle or the disc, the disc, the head of the sun divinity was encompassed. The same was the case in pagan Rome. Apollo, as the child of the sun, was often thus represented. The goddess that claimed kindred with the sun. Sorry. There's something flying around here. I may have to kill it. The same was the case. Oh, hold on, what are they about? Oh, the disc, in particular the circle, were well-known symbols of the sun divinity and figured largely in the symbolism of the East. With the circle, the disc, the head of the sun divinity was encompassed. The same was the case in pagan Rome. Apollo, as a child of the sun, was often thus represented. The goddess that claimed kindred with the sun were equally entitled to be adorned with the nimbus or luminous circle. We give from Pompeii a representation of Circe, Circe, the daughter of the sun, figure 26, with her head surrounded with a circle in the very same way as the head of the Roman Madonna, as it is this day surrounded. Let anyone compare the nimbus around the head of the Circe with that around the head of the Popish Virgin, and we will see how exactly they correspond. Hold on, let's see. Belonging to particular Circe was a daughter of the sun. Because I have an ancient Greek, Kirke, pronounced Circe or Circe, whatever. It's an enchanted and a mirror goddess. Oh, yeah. It's a goddess. She is. Mythology, religion. Described as the daughter of the sun god Helios. Yep. Circus, basically. And we see a video with the circus and claiming that this is the Bible. Supposedly celebrating Christmas. Something that supposedly belongs to the Creator. What is that, family? What are we doing? You guys are all up in there, man. You guys are all up in there. Psalms 8 and 3 is simple, to the point. When I consider thy heavens, the work of thy fingers, the moon and the stars which thou hast ordained, right? When you consider them, it's okay to look at them. It's okay to appreciate them. It's okay to enjoy them. Yeah, the sun's out. Oh, cool. That's it. What the hell? The hell? Psalms 104:19. Here's another simple one. It says here, he appointed the moon for seasons, the sun knoweth his going down. Why y'all worshiping the sun? Where does it say that? Where does it tell you to do that? Psalms 148:3, praise ye him, sun and moon, praise him, all ye stars of light. Praise ye him. He's telling the sun and the moon, not that they will, but just an example. Praise him, all ye stars of light, the Creator. So, let me show you this real quick. Time is it? Okay, I got a little bit of time. Let me show you this real quick. Because you have to understand what they're saying to us.
Albert Mackey repeated Mr. Pike's contentions with comments like these about sun worship. Quote, it was the oldest and by far the most prevalent of all the ancient religions. Eusebius says that the Phoenicians and the Egyptians were the first who ascribed divinity to the sun. Hardly any of the symbols of Masonry are more important in their signification or more extensive in their application than the sun as the source of material light. Star as a type of the myriad suns that light other countless systems of worlds is an emblem of that Masonic light in search of which every Mason travels, the correct knowledge of the deity and of his laws that control the universe, unquote. Now closely allied with
Make sure you get this through your heads, family. They ain't just white people doing this shit. They're white people, black people, fucking brown people, Asian people. I'm telling you, man, this shit is fucking nuts.
the symbol of the star is the symbol of the sun. Albert Pike identified it with the worship of the past in this collection of quotes from his writings. And pay close attention. Quote, "The worship of the sun became the basis of all the religions of antiquity," unquote. Quote, "Thousands of years ago, men worshipped the sun. Originally, they looked beyond the orb to the invisible God. They personified him as Brahma, Amun, Osiris, Baal, Adonis, Malkarth, Mithras, and Apollo. Krishna is the Hindu sun god," unquote. Quote, "The Gauls worshipped the sun under the name of Belin or Belinus," unquote. Quote, "The sun is the ancient symbol of the life-giving and generative power of the deity. The sun was his manifestation and visible image," unquote. Quote, "The sun is the hieroglyphical sign of truth because it is the source of light and full of a deity that should be worshipped." He chose to capitalize the first letter in the word, the S, as one would in recognizing the name of a deity. Called adepts certainly knew that the people would not accept. Only the believers in the religion known as the ancient mysteries understood. These believers, called adepts, certainly knew that the people would not accept their mystery religion, so they had to conceal it from them. So the task became one of creating a religion around a belief that they knew the people would accept because it would make some sense, at least as far as the adepts would explain it. But their basic purpose was to create a popular religion as a cover for their secret worship. The secret religion would be built around a belief in the sun. The sun would be a perfect thing to build a religion around because of its basic nature. It is very visible and has a very important role in man's life. It rises in the morning, it appears to be born and then sets during the evening. It appears to die and then appears to be born again the next morning. It also appears to wander in the sky, setting further north or south each night. It then returns back to any given position twice each year. So the sun appears to have a major birth or death twice each day and twice each year. It would, of course, be very easy for the adepts to explain to the people that only something bigger than mankind, a god, had the ability to die and come back to life. So the adepts would teach the people that they had to pray to the god, or it would choose not to return. They encouraged a worship of the sun so that it would return to mankind again either once a day or once every 6
Now that right there is pretty crazy when you consider the lies that was given to us. Like, for example, with that movie Apocalypto. Remember this here? Supposedly, our gente did this. Now we know how far of a lie this has been. But it's similar to it. It's like the same shit. Supposedly, they knew the time frame of when the eclipse would happen, so then they have people in submission, worshiping the sun. Supposedly. Damn, I couldn't stop it. But anyways, you get the point. The concept of sun worship. When I had brought this book out before, I was bringing it out for other reasons. And now I really understand why it says what it says. This is The Perils of the Republic by Pierce C. Magan, printed in 1899. We're going to explore page 168 real quick. Check this out. And again, this country passed a law to worship the sun day. Already there has been an apostasy from the principle of Protestantism, from the principle of the separation of church and state. The Congress of the United States, the executive, the judiciary of the United States are already committed to the papal principles as opposed to the Protestantism. This has already been done by congressional legislation, executive action, and judicial decision, all three branches. All three arms of the federal government have already inferred in behalf of the religious institution, on behalf of Sunday and Sunday laws.
Wait a minute. Who are you?
Already here is the home of freedom men. Already here in the home of freedom, men have been arrested and thrown into prison, even committed to the chain gang in company with loathsome criminals, simply because they could not consciously observe the first day of the week, meaning Sunday. Into the history of this apostasy, the Protestant principle, I cannot go, it is fully written out in other works, referencing the two republics of Rome, which we were reading. Now check this out. This is where on page 165 it started making sense to me. It says here, already this nation has commenced a war against men who plead for republican principles in their island home. And according to the prophecy, it is yet to go the furthest step in this awful path, and kill men for desiring Protestant principles in these United States. For it is written of the United States, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, Sunday worship, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Sunday law. America had established this 140 years ago, family. The union of church and state in Rome hastened and actually wrought the ruins of that apostate republic. So even now will this union hasten and cause the ruins of this so far apostate republic. And the sketch of the history of the former was written in the book of the prophet Daniel. You see? So now I want to bring you to this point, because we see this now today, fam. This was written in 1800 or like early 1900. And what is going on right now with Trompetas and all his followers? Here's where we see amity or Armageddon. Is it friendship or war? The people of this world are proclaiming peace. That's the right-wingers. That's Republicans. And preparing for war. Are they not talking about that? Are they not thinking about invading here, invading there, going to war here, taking out Gaza completely? Watch this. Never has there been a state of affairs so utterly incongruous. It says, here we go right here. Donald Trump is one man. Donald Trump is one voice. Listen to this. With one voice, men unite. With one voice, men unite. Let me read that again. With one voice, men unite in declaring that the halcyon days, meaning the good old days, are at hand. Make America great again. One man, they unite under him, claiming that halcyon days are at hand, meaning that the good old times are at hand. Look, I'll show you. Denoting a period in time that was ideally happy and peaceful. You see what I mean? So the good old days. With one voice, men unite, declaring that the good old days are at hand, meaning white power, white privilege, right-wing agenda. They're diminishing. They're not procreating. While at the same time, they get ready for the biggest game of powder and projectile that has ever been proposed during the history of the earth. We are expecting that, WW3. It says here that as soon as we see some type of relationship of giving heed, well, you know, history can really tell you a lot when you look back at it. Let me go back to the two republics. We're going to go to page 300, I believe. Let me see here. Okay, page 300, I think. Let me see. Give me a second. Is it page 300 or let me see? Hold on. In addition to the festival. Okay, here it goes. Check this out. Page 212 of the Two Republics. It says, before the coming of Christ, all the Eastern nations performed divine worship with their faces turned to that part of the heavens where the sun displayed his rising beams. This custom was founded upon a general opinion that God, whose essence they looked upon to be the light, and whom they considered as being circumscribed within certain limits, dwelt in that part of the firmament from which he sends forth the sun, and the bright image of the benignity in glory. The Christian converts indeed rejected this gross error of supposing that God dwelt in that part of the firmament, but they retained the ancient and universal custom of worshiping towards the east, which sprang from it. Nor is this custom abolished even in our times, but still prevails in a great number of Christian churches. Ooh. So we see here how even these Christians were worshiping the sun, praying to the east towards the sun. Now, the Bible does speak of that, but it doesn't mean the sun, you dumbasses. Next step in addition to this was the adoption of the day of the sun as a festival day, like today, Sun Day. Back not too long ago, you would get arrested if you worked on today, if you didn't celebrate it. For example, you are forced to have December 25th off. Stores close, they call it a holiday. To such an extent where the forms of sun worship practiced in this apostasy, this country is full of sun worshiping. This is what you guys do. You guys are sun worshiping demons. That before the close of the 2nd century, the heathen themselves charged these so-called Christians with worshiping the sun. Which you do. Can't deny that shit. Sun worshiping all day, every day. This is page 213. Others, with greater regard to the good manner, it must be confessed, suppose that the sun is the God of the Christians, because it is well known fact that we pray towards the east. Let me read that again. Others, with greater regard to good manners, it must be confessed, suppose that the sun is the God of the Christians, because it is well known fact that we pray towards the east, or because we make Sunday a day of festivity. What then? What are we doing, man? Let me show you something real quick. I'm going to have to do part 2 on this, because I got still a lot to show you. I may not be able to get to it. I'm barely on page, what is it, 12? Like, no, man, not even close to it. Hold on a second. I mean, it's not that, yeah, technically it is. I got to do part 2. Hold on a second. Let me just pause it right. I'm not gonna pause it right this moment, but I'm trying to remind myself. Okay, so we're around right there, and I just want to read this to you guys, and then prove a point. And I think that'll be it, probably. Daniel 6:10 says this. Watch this. Now, when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went into his house, and his window being open in his chambers towards Jerusalem, he kneeled upon his knees 3 times a day and prayed and gave thanks before his God as he did aforetime. Now, where exactly is Jerusalem compared to where? Hold on a second. Let me see if I can get this. Where is it at? Is it in here? Hold on a second. Give me a frame. I got some tools I want to show you. Okay, here we go. All right. So we know we go back. Daniel was in Babylon here. Okay? Let me see if I can get a better picture. Not it. Give me a second, family. Okay, so this is the best one. Daniel was here in Babylon. So when Daniel kneels down, Jerusalem's over here. Right? Daniel's in Babylon. Daniel 6:10. Now, when Daniel knew that the writings were signed, he went into his house, and his window being open in his chambers towards Jerusalem. So he's here, and he prays to the west, not to the east. Because the whole concept wasn't to pray to the east, to the sun. It was to the land, to motherland. Galatians 4:26 summarizes it. Very simple. Watch this real quick. But Jerusalem, which is above, is free, which is the mother of us all. So it was never about worshiping the east, the sun. All these other nations took it upon themselves, thinking that this was the righteous so-called way to go. En contraire, mon frères. Let me see if I don't miss anything here. Because if you guys remember, Ezekiel 8, we see here how in a vision this is being told to Ezekiel, the abomination that he's looking at. Ezekiel 8:14. Watch this. Then he brought me to the door of the gates of the Lord's house, which was towards the north. Remember the video that they want nothing to do with that? It's toward the east, right? And behold, there sat women weeping for Tammuz. Now this is nuts. I'm going to show you this after I read this, and then we're going to cut it. Then said he unto me, hast thou seen this, O son of man? Turn thee yet again, and thou shalt see greater abominations than this. Verse 16, and he brought me into the inner courts of the Lord's house, and behold, at the door of the temple of the Lord, between the porch and the altar, which is like the Freemasonry structure, how they put it, were about 25 men with their backs towards the temple of the Lord and their face towards the east. And they worshiped the sun towards the east. Now, I will tell you. Let me see if I have this book. Yep, right here. Watch this real quick. Let me see if I can find it. Hopefully I get it. Let me see if it's this right here. There is a section here. Where is it at? Give me a second. This book here called The Queen of Heaven and Earth has a section, I thought I had it correct. It has a section that's talking about Baal's and like how, he's considered the sun. Like star worship of the Queen of Heaven and possibly including Jupiter continued in Judah until the 18th year of Joshua's reign, 621 BC. That's not what I wanted to look for. There's a section that talks about this God being a man and woman. Okay. It was considered so here we see, let me read this. Finally, although it is outside the context of this course and thus the scope of this paper, the acceptance and veneration of the prominent goddess, possibly a consort wife to El, Yahweh, God, known as the Queen of Heaven, would have a major impact in Christianity, especially for Protestantism, which has rejected the Catholic veneration of the Virgin Mary, Mother of Jesus, whose title includes Mother of God, interestingly, Queen of Heaven. Oh, it's got to be up here. Let's see. Let me find it. Let's see about people. Twice Solomon went to make an offering, Queen of Heaven, declamation never lived, contrary to the day. Woman practice. Which one's the one that I was looking at? Oh, okay. Sorry, my bad. Okay, here it goes, fam. Here it goes. My bad. Now that's what I was looking for. So we're going to borrow here the book called Yahweh and the Gods of Canaan, a historical analysis. Okay, so now let's go to page 130, and I'm going to show you a video, and then we're done. So you can understand what this sun worshiping shit is about and why it goes real deep, and how come you see these things like in Hollywood, they talk about this particular type of rumor, supposedly, right? Okay, so let's read from the top, and then we'll show a video. We're done. It cannot be accidental that this late form of anath, by the way, this is page, hold on, 130. I always forget to do that shit. My bad, fam. This is the book called Yahweh and the Gods of Canaan, historical analysis of the two constrating faiths, 1968. A little newer. Okay, let's go here. All right, page 130. Here it goes. It cannot be accidental that this late form of anath at Ascalon was also called Derketo, Darkuta, dominion rule. Among anath, titles as the Queen of Heaven in a recently described Ugaritic tablet are Baalutu Mulki, Baalutu Darkiti, and Baalutu Semen, or Ramen, mistress of kingship, mistress of dominion, mistress of high heavens, respectively. Below, we will show that the Carthaginian appellation of the goddess Anat, whatever that is, means radiance of the presence of Baal, or the like. Tenet was often identified with Juno Celestus, Juno as the Queen of Heaven, or as Virgo Celestis, the Heavenly Virgin. You see what I'm saying? La Reina de los Cielos, where y'all are worshiping a demon. At the same time, Anath could be consort and wet nurse, as we know from passages of the epic literature. Such apparent contradictions means nothing in the pre-logical world of thinking. As soon as they were transposed to the dimensions over which man could normally exercise no control. Anath was, not surprisingly, an extraordinarily cruel goddess. Check this out. Represented as having slaughtered mankind from the rising of the sun to the shores of the sea. Apparently, the slaughter delighted her, since her heart rejoiced and her liver exulted over the massacre. Hold on, is it? The Queen of Heaven, Sun God. Yep, the Queen of Heaven, Sun God. Where is it at? Oh, here it goes, right here. It has been pointed out by Marvin Pope that there are many traits which Anath shares in common with the Indic goddess Kali or Durga. In fact, the respective figures are in some way so similar that coincidence can scarcely be the only explanation. It may be that major common traits spring from the substratum extending from the Mediterranean to India before the intrusion of the Sumerians, no later than the 4th millennium BC. And that minor resemblance are the results of secondary pseudo-dimorphism. But check this, here's the point. Both goddesses are represented as protecting and destroying. Their beneficent and destructive aspects complementing each other in one way that startles and shocks a Westerner, but which undoubtedly does reflect the reactions of primitive man to the sharp contrast of this environment. When Anath found the dead body of Baal, we read in the recently published tablets, Anath walked along the mountain. Hold on a second. Is this it? Come on, man. I know I didn't miss a damn page. Hold on. Let me see. Appears rarely. There's a section. I'm not sure why I can't find it now, but there is a section where you see that this goddess represents a man and a woman. Okay. Like that's technically what it's representing as well. So it's really, really fucking crazy, because like that's what Tammuz is in a sense. So I'm gonna leave you with this video because it reminded me of this shit.
Lo que quieres hacer es apropiarte de las mujeres.
I don't like that punk ass, but this is what Anath looks like.
Apropiarte de la feminidad y convertirla básicamente en un disfraz que se puede usar. Así puedes sentirte como quieras. Quiero decir, podría sentarme aquí y decir que me siento como una planta de tomate, pero eso no significa que realmente soy esas cosas. Entonces, tu autopercepción, puedes tener la autopercepción que quieras, pero no puedes esperar que participe en esa autopercepción o que forme parte de esta especie de farsa, de esta producción teatral.
That right there. That technically was considered Anath. She, he, male, female.
No puedes tener tus propios pronombres, así como no puedes tener tus propias preposiciones o adjetivos. ¿Sabes? Es como si yo te dijera, mis adjetivos son guapo y brillante, y no importa de qué hables sobre mí, tienes que describirme como guapo y brillante porque así me identifico. No tiene sentido. No puedes tener tus propios pronombres.
All right, fam. I'm gonna have to do part 2 on this, man, because I still got a lot of material. Well, I don't got a lot of material, but it's like I don't want to lose the material that I have here already. Like it's a good avenue that we're taking because we're digging deep into this sun worshiping shit here. You know, I still have some stuff to show you here from this book. Here from this book. Not no more there. Here, and a little bit more there. So it's not that I want to cut it short, but it's like I don't take another probably 2 hours. And I may look for that page again because I know for a fact I shouldn't have lost it. But anyways, I appreciate you guys being here, man. I hope this was hopefully edifying in some way, you know, and informative and helpful. Because, you know, you ain't nothing wrong with questioning what you've been taught for many years, man. It's time to really understand if what is it? What's this faith that you have? Like, what do you believe in? And if what do you and the thing that you then the thing that you believe in, is it true? Is it solid? Is it real? Or have you been lied to? Because that's it. That's the question, man. Have we been lied to? And if that's the case, then okay, sounds good. Let's find out what it is exactly. Because I believe in a creator. I don't believe that we're just here by coincidence. Like, oh, we're just, we're just a bunch of fucking, it's like we're like an ant farm and shit. We got no purpose in this world. I don't believe that. I believe we have a purpose. I believe there's a creator, and I believe that he's asking for certain things. Yeah, have a good night, man. I hope it was helpful. All right, later.
Miras a otro lado, los fantasmas del pasado no se detendrán hasta verte derrumbado. Peores lo hemos pasado. Andaba a golpes con la tristeza, me aportó riqueza, me otorgó sabiduría, pues se dibujaba en todas mis piezas. Yo con alegría le daba color después. La aguja sigue girando, tiempo parece se burlar de mí. Dijo que sanaría esperando, pero creo que la espina aún sigue ahí. Con los dedos lo voy palpando. Cierro los puños, escapa de aquí. Agonizando, no me espera el tiempo, no voy a esperar por ti. Nuestras huellas en la orilla se han borrado por la marea. Si esas estrellas ya no brillan, las entiendo pa' que veas. Sea donde sea, bajo la tormenta o dentro de la odisea, donde arañas cubren el cielo de tela, los aviones nadan y los barcos vuelan. Hey, aunque parezca que va bien, no sabes bien si va mal. Besos que pueden doler, ojos que pueden matar. Tengo mi alma en el almacén encerrada, mi corazón está en huelga, mis sentimientos en ámbar. Gente, Calamala dijo que estaría presente. Fallaron como nunca, se fueron para siempre. Millones razones para vengarme, pero a veces duele más actuar indiferente. Como no quieren ver ahogados, tenemos branquias y cerrados los bronquios como la mente de un guardia. Yo soy la montaña y vine con la cordillera. Más cojones que tu ganga tiene una madre soltera. Tú cúbrete si suena mi tu. A mi lado tengo soldados fumando de su palulú. Ni un conjuro de grimorio me lo salva del velorio. Pa' tener pila valorio se matan vestidos de emporio. Y yo no quiero una pistola, estoy soñando que la vida que quería me llega a tiempo. Desde que yo la vi sola, loco ando. Vino a verme cuando el sol se estaba poniendo y se dejó una pluma y se perdió en la bruma. Nunca se despidió de mí, ey. Nunca se despidió de mí, ey. Vivo en un mundo que parece roto y sé que no, porque todo es perfecto y lo debo plasmar. Me fumo un trocolor tras otro y lo veo todo otro color. Me siento libre porque vuelvo a conectar. Mi gente sufre y no lo puedo evitar, más que dándole consejos siempre desde la humildad. Es su camino hacia la fraternidad. Solo puedo que enseñarles a respetar y amar. Con esta bendición, como no voy a aprovechar los códigos que llegan, los tenemos que hacer. Así me reencarné, fue para ayudar y no para malgastar mi tiempo en beneficio del mal. En la unión nace la fuerza y eso nos hace juntar las ganas que siempre tuvimos para iluminar a la gente que se le ocurra y la malla armonizar. Vinimos para dar fuego a la que no nos va a quemar. Arda y por dentro la llama, no puedo contener la ras. Churruscao el corazón, el armazón no puede llegar a pesarme más. Si abro la boca, tu tumba al suelo, me muelo a diario y sobrado de gas. Escupo ristas perfectas, paladas de versos eternos, no mueren jamás. Cuando acabe mi condena, me vi muy solo vez más negra la flema, más elegante el problema, pero plante cara a todos mis enemigos. Recuperé las ganas, las fuerzas y el garbo. Dedico requiems a mis diablos, que aquí estoy vivo de milagro. Delicadas flores crecieron entre los cardos. Me dicen vienes más delgado que de costumbre. Será de tanto que he bailado en el alambre, que a tanta pena es mejor no ponerle nombre. Llevamos la música en vena, nuestra sangre. Quiero pensar, pero no puedo, no. El ruido en la ciudad está consumiendo, Quieren pensar, sin ni siquiera estar al mando. Tanta publicidad subliminal te está matando. Les cuesta decidir por sí mismos cuál es su mando. Publican sonrisas con el corazón llorando. Quieren brillar, pero sin tener que valerse de tener sus ideas propias. Los veo a todos igual, solo son la réplica de la imitación de una triste copia. Obedece, la vida es un suspiro y envejeces. Te dejas distraer por estupideces y pierdes el eje. Te duele por dentro, entonces te creces, pero aceptas mucho menos de lo que mereces. ¿Y quién te ha dicho a ti que no puedes pensar sobre lo que le di, sobre cómo actuar? Lucha por ser feliz sin a nadie dañar, y solo así podrás brillar. ¿Y quién te ha dicho a ti que no puedes pensar sobre lo que le di, sobre cómo actuar? Lucha por ser feliz sin a nadie dañar, y solo así podrás brillar. Conserva tu juicio y tu intuición, más activos que el que lucha por lo suyo y no se rinde. Yo ya sé bien cuál es mi misión, y es contarte que el mal por su propio pie pronto se extingue. Menos caigas bajo su control, pues por la televisión es normal que mal lo pinte. Tú mantente firme en conexión con la fuente de creación, vivirás siempre de fin de. Dios abre los ojos, dime lo que ves. A tus propios hijos matándose por billetes. Niños por cada 2 por 3. Pa' unos es bendición, con otros por su causa pequen. Y yo que intento ser un ser crístico, voy bendiciendo hasta los diablos. Piensan que es cierto el mensaje típico. Dicen que invento lo del engaño, y mientras lucho contra mis errores, demonios escucho, me ofrecen soluciones. Pero sé que hay un ángel que quiere que mejore. Me dice haz un trabajo interno antes de que lo ignores, antes que otra vez llores y se llenen los mares de pena y de dolores, ya que en mi mente no caben. La paz no va en un sobre, somos algo importante. Nunca te revelaste y por eso no lo sabes. ¿Y quién te ha dicho a ti que no puedes pensar sobre lo que le di, sobre cómo actuar? Lucha por ser feliz sin a nadie dañar, y solo así podrás brillar. ¿Y quién te ha dicho a ti que no puedes pensar sobre lo que le di, sobre cómo actuar? Lucha por ser feliz sin a nadie dañar, y solo así podrás brillar. Me desperté tan cansado, me sentía mal herido de todo lo que he pasado. No me quita lo aprendido, por dentro me he perdonado, pero casi no me olvido. Me desperté tan cansado, me sentía mal herido de todo lo que he pasado. No me quita lo aprendido, por dentro me he perdonado, pero casi no me olvido. No. Todos repiten lo que dice el referente. Discursos vacíos lejos de ser coherentes. De lo que no sabes será mejor que no inventes, que investigues y no te dejes lavar la mente. ¿Y quién te ha dicho a ti que no puedes pensar sobre lo que le di, sobre cómo actuar. Lucha por ser feliz sin a nadie dañar y solo así podrás brillar. ¿Y quién te ha dicho a ti que no puedes pensar sobre lo que decir, sobre cómo actuar? Lucha por ser feliz sin a nadie dañar y solo así podrás brillar. Quiero pensar, pero no puedo, no. El ruido en la ciudad está consumiendo,
Yeah, man. Respect and love from the world, nigga. Show them. You nigga on a microphone. Can't I sit in number 15? Rock you in the studio. Bomba clap.
¿De qué manera sufre el alma cuando alguien se va? No hay medicina que cure esa larga enfermedad. La vitamina de la vida en esta sociedad es tan divina que por nombre tiene libertad. Libérate de la mentira que está por llegar. Mide tu orgullo antes de empezar a hablar. Cierra la puerta a quien no merezca entrar, porque hay mucho que se fue y sueña con regresar. Hablemos en silencio y así no me mentirás. El poder de la palabra muere cuando hablan de más. No me fío de oraciones que se dicen por detrás. Si me miras a los ojos no te mentiré jamás. Que besar por besar es jugar por jugar. Y vivir sin amor es vivir sin amar. Solo queda la fe, solo queda soñar. Ponte de pie, ready para luchar. Some love, I can just smoke and there are some love them.
I can just smoke and the lights some low.
I remember no fire, no girl. Ribby day.
Cali with a farmer soul, yeah. Tell them around.
¿De cuánto tiempo hablamos cuando hablamos de querer? Si la mitad lo malgastamos solo en comprender. ¿De qué manera es más fácil aprender? Que nacemos para ganar y morimos al perder. No puedo dejar de animarte, que cuando te caigas debes levantarte. Llegué para contarte que no todo artista muere por su arte. Traigo el honor de un humano con valor que utiliza poesía para respirar mejor. Escribo prosa para vengar al amor y recuerda aquella rosa que tiraron al contenedor.
¿Dónde se quedó el amor? Hey, I know I sit here on no microphone forever, never. Tell me,
roll some love, I can just smoke and the light, some love them. I Rastafari my life, some love. I remember no fire, no burn, ribby day.
I live with a farmer soul, yeah. Reggae man a farmer warrior day. Not a really thing. Yeah, man. Y se piensa que la música es un juego, lo lleva claro, hermano. Desde España, internacional, bomba, clack, you, Lego. Not really easy. No. You nigga on a microphone. Hey, tell us what. Tell us anything. Tell if I'm a Rasta feeling on my sin. Hey, more love. Yeah, man, real bomba clock and I set the volume 8. This is the music from the my niggas. Yeah, man. Oh, ribby damn, ribby damn. Hey. La. You man a tribute for Black Uhuru Ray. Hey. Broken microphone, mystic lover sound, a dream of soul. Will my head alone, living in Zion, but Babylon. Broken microphone, mystic lover sound, a dream of soul. Will my head alone, living in Zion, but Babylon.
Por soñar soñé que todo cambiaría, por pensar pensé. Luchar a sangre fría sin perder la fe. Viviendo el día a día, más con sentimiento que marcó mi sinfonía. Darle pan al que no puede comer, darle bendición al que sepa renacer. 3000 errores solemos cometer, pero solo un gran hombre los sabrá reconocer. Y me di cuenta hoy de tantas cosas, algunas crudas, otras bastante hermosas. Solo más sabios, personas poderosas, no aquellos bastardos que destrozan nuestras prosas. Es la perdición, mala situación de manchar tu corazón por tu mala acción. Dame una razón para darte mi perdón. Siento que tu alma se consume como el humo de este blon. Derramo poesía, arte mensajero que reclamo cada día. Pretendo ser sincero, más comparto mi alegría con todo caballero que mantenga la presión cuando andamos bajo cero. Sentimientos perdidos con calma, malos actos mancharon tu alma. No pide perdón quien dispara el arma, no sabe que un ladrón se bate con el karma. Broken microphone, mystic love a sound that removes all. Real my head alone, living in Zion but Babylon. Broken microphone, mystic love a sound that removes soul. Real my head alone, living in Zion but Babylon. Wanna ganja respect from Volumen 8. My niggas on Volumen 8, this is Key on the studio respect. Alright. Bad boy kills, criminal of sound and rich. Money is a gun for me. Respect the nation. Below the time like this. Bad boy kills, criminal of sound and rich. Money is a gun for me. Respect the nation. Below the time like this. Bad boy kills, criminal of sound and rich. Money is a gun for me. Respect the nation. Oh. La 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 la. When I can just smoking from the studio of the on. And when I can just put nigga on the floor. When I live a sound. Oh them, ah. Bye bye rhythm, bye bye sound in
Ical, hijo, abre los ojos, abre los ojos. Tu cuerpo se queda con nosotros, pero tu espíritu debe seguir, Busca la luz, aléjate de las sombras, deja que nuestro dolor sea tu fuerza, Desde aquí iluminamos tu camino. Lucha como nosotros ante esta pena tan grande. Yo soy tú eres yo. La muerte que hoy nos separa, mañana volverá a unirnos. Eres libre, hijo.